Oh yeah, I'm making a video on it, buddy. Blake Smith is a Leaf prospect. The Leafs have actually made a bunch of signings recently. Guys with NHL contracts, and there's at least one with an AHL contract. They've traded a wild amount of draft picks and prospects in recent memory, and you got to replenish that. One way you can replenish that is by trading guys off your roster to get draft picks in return, and then you draft players, and those players are 18, and then it takes a while to draft them, and wait a sec, how does that help us now? The correct answer is it doesn't help you now, and that's why the Leafs aren't doing that. You sign college and European and major junior free agents. We made a video a few weeks ago when Valis, out of the WHL with the Prince George Cougars, signed an entry-level deal with the Leafs. And I was able to show you highlights of Valis on account of we have an agreement with SDPN and the WHL and the OHL, which is why I was really excited to see that the Leafs signed a player out of the Ontario Hockey League, so I can actually show you that player. The Toronto Maple Leafs tweeted, "We've signed defenseman Blake Smith to a 3-year entry-level contract beginning in the 2025-26 season." Now, what made me laugh about that is you click on it to read the article, and there is no article. It's just a picture of him with a graphic. Oh, okay, so that's all we know then. Okay, so he's a defenseman. Take it from me. That's important to note whether they are or aren't a defenseman. If you don't understand what I'm referring to, good. Don't look it up. Ooh, his name is Blake Smith. Very important. It's a 3-year entry-level contract, and it doesn't begin until next season. Now, that doesn't prevent Blake Smith from playing with the Toronto Marlies, for example. He can sign a tryout contract for the rest of the season and maybe play with the Marlies for a few games. Or more than a few games. Example, just on March 24th, the Leafs signed Luke Hames out of Dartmouth. He signed a 2-year contract that doesn't kick in until next year, 25-26. But he's playing with the Marlies now, because he signed an amateur contract with the Toronto Marlies. Very key difference, though, is when the Leafs announced that, they specifically said he will join the Toronto Marlies for the remainder of the 2024-25 season on an amateur tryout. They notably didn't do that with Blake Smith. So who's Blake Smith? He's an overager, 20 years old, and he'll turn 21 in October, which I think actually fits the Leafs better than a 5th, 6th, or 7th round pick would do, because that 5th or 6th or 7th round pick, even if the Leafs hit on it, is 18. A 5th or 6th or 7th round pick will likely take at least 3 years to play their first NHL game, probably more. And the Leafs are trying to win games now, and next season, and basically till at very least the end of Austin Matthews' current contract, which goes on for another 3 years. You would hope longer than that. So signing these college guys and these overager major junior players, Valis and now Blake Smith, fits the Leafs window a little better. He is from Oshawa, Ontario, which I love very much, and he played with the Oshawa Generals. According to EliteProspects.com, he played with the Oshawa Generals U15 AAA team, U16, and U18. Then it says he didn't play anywhere for a year. Why is it? Oh, COVID. Yeah, all those young hockey players where we're like, hey, is this going to screw them up? Yeah, they're all like a few years older now. But in the 21-22 season, he played a full season in the Ontario Hockey League, 55 games, putting up 0 goals and 1 assist. Well, what did the Oshawa Generals see in him? Well, I'm happy to report Blake Smith is listed at 6'5", 225 pounds. Oh, right, Brad Treliving's the GM. I forgot about that. After 19 games with the Oshawa Generals last season, he gets sent to the Flint Firebirds, where he played an additional 41. So he played 60 games last year. 65-game season with the Flint Firebirds, featuring 2 goals and 13 points. This year, way bigger in the offensive department, 10 goals, 32 points in 64 games. So half a point a game defenseman. Granted, as an overager, but he showed offensive chops this season that he had not shown before. And it's worth noting that he was an assistant captain with the Flint Firebirds this year. Leadership, leadership, leadership. Now this next thing we're going to file under probably nothing, but might be something. The Kyle Dubas regime of the Toronto Maple Leafs front office had their teams that they liked to keep an eye on. The number one meme was Kyle Dubas loves his guys, and by his guys, I mean the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. He would sign guys who were Greyhounds, he would draft guys who were Greyhounds, he would trade for guys who were Greyhounds. This guy loves Sioux Greyhounds. By the end of Kyle Dubas' tenure, and Wes Clark, who was also a big part of that Leafs front office, it also became the Chicago Steel of the USHL. Those guys loved the Chicago Steel. Not just drafting players from the Chicago Steel, but also getting their head coach to coach the Marlies for a little bit, and some scouts. With the Brad Treliving Leafs, I'm kind of starting to wonder if they have their eyes on the Flint Firebirds more than other teams. Braden Kressler is a Leafs prospect. He's deep in their system. He played in the ECHL this season, where he was quite good, and he's also played some time with the Marlies. He's recovering. He had a lot of injuries. He's building his game back up. But that's a former Flint Firebird who played with Blake Smith. During the 2024 NHL draft, the Leafs had 3 7th-round picks, which is hilarious. One of them they used to select Sam McHugh, 216th overall. That came after a season that McHugh split between the Peterborough Petes and the Owen Sound Attack. This year, he split time between the Owen Sound Attack and the Flint Firebirds. After 18 goals in 35 games with the Owen Sound Attack, McHugh scored 18 goals in 20 games with the Flint Firebirds. He was a pretty good acquisition for them. I'm always trying to do this when the Leafs sign a player or draft a player. I go, were they at this game looking at someone else when another player caught their eye? We sort of talked about this with Nikita Grobenkin at the beginning of the season, and gosh, bringing up his name makes me sad now. But enough about that. Are the Flint Firebirds kind of becoming a preferred team of the Leafs organization? Listen, with Blake Smith, the Leafs found a type. 14 different players have played games for the Toronto Marlies this season who are listed at 6'3" or taller. Now, you can probably delete a few names from that list. For example, 3 of them are goalies. One of them is Yanni Hakanpää, who played 2 games. One of them is Philippe Myers, who played 3. John Prokop, who they just signed, 6'3". Cade Weber, who they traded for just last year, 6'7". Nicholas Montinen, who they signed within the last year, 6'5". And rather notably, all of those guys, defensemen. Who'd they go out and get this deadline? Brandon Carlo. Beef! You don't gotta be huge to play in the Leafs organization these days. You don't gotta be huge to play for Brad Treliving's Toronto Maple Leafs. But he does like big defensemen. You don't have to be, but it does seem to be a plus. And I know you're wondering, hey, does he beat the crap out of... Yes, he does. Now, it's not as simple as just going on YouTube and typing in Blake Smith fight on account of there appears to be a mixed martial artist with the same name. But there was a fight between Blake Smith and Alec Leonard of the London Knights where Blake Smith, I'm going to go out on a limb and say he won. Realistically, this is just another young but big body defenseman to add to the Leafs organization. They are adding darts to throw at the dartboard. Is signing Blake Smith any better or worse than drafting a player in the 5th or 6th or 7th round? This is the sort of thing the Leafs should be doing. If you are going to go for it and trade away your draft picks, which we're begging the Leafs to do, you need to do stuff like this. You got to sign players at a major junior and college, which they have been. They got a type. Big, will fight, leadership, all that. Do I expect much from him offensively? He did show that he had some chops this season. I'm not going to count on it. It'd be nice. He even scored a shorthanded goal. There are a few goals where he was in front of the net on the power play. Most of his offense came from where you would expect it to come from if you had a giant defenseman on the blue line. From the blue line. So, what do you think? Leave a comment in the comment box down below. But for now, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. I wonder if the Leafs are going to sign anybody else. And if they do, and they're from the OHL or the WHL, I might just show you a clip or two.